Now let's examine the situation on the American front in relation to Iran. We previously discussed whether Iran informed the United States about their actions or not. However, in light of the Iranian attack on Israel, the United States has called for an emergency meeting chaired by Joe Biden. The American government has expressed its readiness to defend Israel against any attacks on American personnel in the region. Vice President Harris also stated that they are closely monitoring the situation. Moving forward, it is now crucial to question what actions the United States will take in response to Iran. They have already declared their support for Israel, with Joe Biden stating that he will engage in discussions with Netanyahu. Suhaila, what is your take on this matter? Previously, at various points during the ground operation in Lebanon, we got the impression that the United States, specifically Joe Biden and Netanyahu, were not necessarily aligned. It's possible that they were employing a good cop, bad cop strategy, but it was unclear leading up to the elections. However, now, following this Iranian attack, could we witness a change in climate? Will we see a closer rapprochement between Joe Biden and Netanyahu, especially considering that there is only a month left until the elections here? Will the current policies of the Biden-Harris administration become more stringent towards Iran and other nations in the region? These are crucial questions that need to be addressed. Note, this reformulated text has 1702 characters, which is within the allowed range of 1692 characters, plus 10%.
Indeed, the Biden and Netanyahu administrations have been in deep disagreement. And this has been going on for a very long time, for months, to the extent that it could no longer be hidden from the public. So much so that Biden was not taking Netanyahu's calls for a while, and recently Netanyahu was not paying any attention to the Biden administration's warnings because there was a ceasefire goal. On the way to the elections, the only thing Biden wanted to win was a temporary ceasefire in Gaza. And let's underline this, not a permanent ceasefire formulation, but a temporary ceasefire, especially to convince Israel of this. But Israel has already taken this trump card from Biden's hand, or rather neutralized it, by expanding its snow operations in Gaza at every step and not withdrawing from the Egyptian border in Gaza. It also entered Lebanon. He killed Haniyeh, then he killed Nasrallah, and we were even surprised. We were surprised when this whole Haniyeh assassination took place. In terms of timing, just when Netanyahu had gone and met with Biden, he returned to his country, and a few days later, in a very short period of time, this started. In other words, they moved in the opposite direction of what the Biden administration wanted. But in fact, perhaps the Republicans had moved to a much more aggressive position and military strategy in a way that Trump would defend and support. In this sense, after the Biden administration failed to convince Netanyahu, did it change its position? Yes, it can be seen as a change of attitude as of yesterday's attack, but this is not the case. Because there is a defense agreement between Israel and the United States, there is a defense pact. Look, the US is obliged to provide Israel with the support that it did not provide to Ukraine within the scope of the relations it has established and the agreements it has signed. If Israel is attacked, America is obliged to support Israel before and when it is attacked. This is the basis of our alliance between us. Therefore, they are at the same point, they are on the same line. But now that the Biden administration is not getting what it expects from Israel, Trump's day has dawned. Since last night, Trump has been trying to use this Iranian attack as a favorable ground to make a leap in a sense. What did he say? Look, the American president seems to be present, but he is not. There seems to be a vice president, but he is also absent. America's leadership is not respected, and because America has not been able to establish its leadership, the world is on fire and our administration is a bystander. But when I was president, there was no war in the Middle East. If I had been president, there would have been no attacks on Israel. At least he is trying to attract those undecided voters in the United States who are close to Biden, because let's not forget this. This situation in the Middle East is being used as an election material. Definitely, and it is a very close election. In other words, every vote, especially the votes of the communities in this sense, a move to move forward in areas that can change such balances is exactly what Trump needs. Therefore, especially the developments on the Trump wing, and yesterday, by the way, in the past hours, the vice presidents shared their Trump cards for the first time on live broadcast. And according to CNN's poll, the winner of that debate was Trump's vice presidential candidate. So in a way, this whole process could have an impact on the elections in the US and bring Trump's rule to the agenda, which is a bigger nightmare scenario for the Middle East and perhaps for Iran. Of course, the elections in the US do not change in terms of foreign policy, but it is a neck-and-neck competition. Obviously, in such areas, it is possible to make an assessment that maybe it can give an opening or a chance to the side that is behind. Therefore, there is such a situation, and even our guest, Guru Gezershun, drew attention to it in the previous hour. All this raises the following possibility. Netanyahu met with Biden at work. They are already in different positions. Then he met with Trump at Mar-a-Lago. It is as if all this was decided there. Khamenei's assassination, the assassinations of Hezbollah, and to corner Iran and draw it into such a war, because this is what Netanyahu wants. Even though it seems like he doesn't want it, when Israel and Iran fight directly, compare their military power, compare their economic power, their technological power. Who would have the most advantage? Who would have the most advantage in terms of allies? Who would be in a stronger position with a victory against Israel and such an Iran? Netanyahu
Right.
and his shaky future.
Now, of course, on the one hand, Israel is attacking Syria, then there is already a ground operation in Lebanon, and now it has turned against Iran. Whether there will be a new retaliation against Iran or not, Iran told the foreign ministry that this attack will not continue if there is no retaliation, and told the United Nations that if there is a counterattack against me, I will attack. Now, I guess from now on, all eyes will be on what scale of attack Israel will carry out, but you emphasize, can nuclear targets be targeted from now on? Is that the main goal?
In the first term, the focus is on oil facilities, or again, military facilities, like the retaliation for the Iranian attack in April. But now they are also thinking that those oil production facilities, which are the backbone of the Iranian economy, may be on a large scale at a different point in time. But in the long run, if war breaks out, of course, the main target will be assassinations again, this time aimed at weakening the nuclear program.
When the opportunity arises, Israel will take measures to eliminate their nuclear weapons. As for the economy, it's worth noting that Iran's domestic economic situation is already in severe distress.